Aloha. So we're going to go over the majority report, talking about AOC, when she talked to Ta-Nehisi Coates, talking about there's no left party in the United States, that they're a center-right party, and I want you to hear the difference in the way they were talking 5 years ago as to where they talk now.
Of AOC. Here she is. I guess she was interviewed by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I don't know. What was the context for this?
This was like an MLK speakers panel.
And she is talking about, and none of this should be controversial, right? Mm-hmm. It's very weird that there's any controversy about this, because it's something that everyone will tell you. Like, this is nothing she's saying is profound or in this one clip is like dangerous.
I mean, it's dangerous because they label it dangerous.
It's
dangerous because it's true.
She is a congresswoman.
Right.
It's because she's supposed to be on the inside. You're not supposed to tell about this. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Everyone knows it.
Mm-hmm.
In what you said earlier, too, I wanted to go back to what you said about our left party. We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party.
We do have left parties, but not one of the two major parties.
The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party.
So conservative, center right, center conservative.
We do not advocate we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Mm-hmm. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. Mm-hmm. We can't even get a vote on it. Mm-hmm. So this is not a left party. Mm-hmm. There are left members inside the Democratic Party
not enough.
That are working.
They need to go to the Greens. Let's see what they're working on.
To try to make that shift happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, again. The Democrats won't let the shift happen. They got rid of Cori Bush. They turned AOC here into baby bear for mama bear. They're not going to change. If we have people who want to make a difference, join a party that will let you be you, let you fight for the people, and grow that party.
But you're right. It does convey a certain sentiment about true believers. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of true believers in that we can capitalism our way out of poverty in the Democratic Party. If anything, that's probably the majority. Right. And that's an area in which I agree with Dr. King, that assessment is flawed.
So well said.
Sounds much different
it's so
these
well
days.
said. It's just, when she's not supposed to say that, which is also sort of stupid too, because even if you have Nancy Pelosi's agenda to appease to the most conservative members of the Democratic Party,
appease to the most conservative members of the Democratic Party. Now this is the only party they can see.
That's what you want her saying.
Right.
You don't want her saying, you want her saying,
right.
The Democratic Party is not a left party. That's the thing that I just don't even get.
I don't either. And it's interesting because these types of arguments don't make it onto the mainstream media, and you're kind of shifted off the stage if you start to do that, as I'm sure many of us have. Sam, I'm sure you've notably experienced that.
So he's been shifted off the stage because he's so far left, so progressive. Now he's pushing hardcore for the center-right party that he knows is obviously center-right. He says that shouldn't even be up for discussion. But now this is the party that he pushes when he's supposed to be a progressive or a left-winger.
That, but you hear the consulting class reinforcing that. And so this is a much bigger issue than just the House and just being a loyal Democrat in following Nancy Pelosi's, orders. It's really something that has gone and bringing it into the New York Times endorsement, in which you don't have to be messaged that.
But see, being a loyal Democrat and having to follow Nancy Pelosi's orders, that's not how the Green Party will work. You follow the people's orders. And in fact, we the people are the ones that need to build the Green Party. We're letting these elite, rich people build the two parties and just run us. The Green Party isn't running great because people don't have the time to do politics like rich people. But we need, if you have the time, even if you don't have the time, just, become a member of the Green Party. But if you have the time, we need regular people to run, Joe the Plumber type people.
And bringing it into the New York Times endorsement, it's a groupthink in which you don't have to be messaged that, you just have to sort of intrinsically believe that. I remember 4 years ago, I said something about the Democratic Party wasting all its money on consultants, and I got threatening text messages from DNC members being like, how dare you say that? When every single DNC member had a copy and knows this, but it was the fact that I aired it on CNN, and I challenged the funding structure, and they somehow thought that was going to enable Republicans to beat us. And that's sort of the old trick. You can't attack your own because then the Republicans are going to use it against you. And I think that is why they're mad at Bernie for...
See, you shouldn't, it's not attacking your own, it's critiquing your own, but you should be able to critique yourself, your own party or whatnot.
Or saying corruption or not saying corruption or whatever the story is. And for challenging Hillary because you're now, in their minds, a tool of the Republicans. At Bernie for saying corruption or not saying corruption or whatever the story is, and for challenging Hillary because you're now, in their minds, a tool of the Republicans. I just don't think that they'll say that publicly about AOC because she has way too much power at this point.
And I don't know if they actually believe that.
She has way too much power at this point. This is 5 years ago. She just lost that election to Jerry Connolly for whatever head of whatever thing in Congress, but she's starting to lose her power staying with the center-right party. If she's really progressive, she's not going to gain power in a center conservative party. She needs to go to the Green Party, use her power there, bring people on over.
I mean, I think some of them do.
Yeah.
I think some of them do, and some of them don't.
Right.
Some of them just like, it's cynical, I'm going to use this, it's effective.
Of course.
And then others, I think, actually genuinely do believe this. You're enabling Donald Trump by saying that Joe Biden is corrupt. But the fact of the matter is that we still have an opportunity as a party, but it's really, and look, it's just a bunch of individuals who all decided to vote in one, in one primary or another. To look at Joe Biden and assess, how dangerous is he of a bet to go into the general election? I mean, I have obviously sort of ideological issues with Joe Biden. But even that aside, he scares me a little bit. The idea that he would go into that election, like, same game plan.
Right.
I'm going to run on my CV. And I'm going to run as a guy I'm the guy who's going to restore us back to where it was. And Trump's going to go, that's why I ran in the first place.
Exactly.
Because of the swamp.
Exactly.
That's why I won the first time. Because of the swamp. And nobody is going to vote. Trump's never going to convince anybody to vote for him that would be inclined to vote for Joe Biden.
Exactly.
But Trump can convince people that, like, it's just not worth it for me to go out and vote for Joe Biden because he's not going to deliver what he says he's going to deliver. That's the trick, right? Is you just...
See, that's what happened with Kamala. A lot of people stayed home because they were, they didn't want to vote for her. They were just disempowered or whatnot. But see, Trump beat Biden, or Biden beat Trump because of COVID. Trump mishandled COVID, so that's why Biden won. That's really the only reason he won. But this is 5 years ago. You got Sam talking about the Democrats like this, knowing that they suck. They're a terrible party. Okay, you had to vote for Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. For 5 years, you could have been building the Green Party. For 5 years, you could have been doing something, and we wouldn't have to be having these conversations now. Like, we got nowhere to go. We just have to stick with Joe Biden. Or who is it now? Kamala Harris.
Press those voters.
That's right.
One other thing that's fascinating to me, the criticism that we're hearing of Bernie Sanders is not, like, if you look at the criticism of the way that goes around of Biden, of Warren. Nobody's really spent any time criticizing Klobuchar, Buttigieg. These are all critiques that we will see in the general. Mm-hmm. Almost all of them.
That's right.
Right? Every single one of them. The critiques that we're told that we're going to hear about Sanders. He's a socialist. Mm-hmm. He wants to give you everything for free. He's going to tax the hell out of you. We're not hearing those in the Democratic committee. Like what? Like we're hearing stuff like he's an outsider, right? I mean, that's what you're saying. Like nobody likes him. He's an outsider. Really? That's not going to.
He's not one of us.
He's not one of us. He could run on that in the general.
Totally.
like he could.
He is running on that now, though. So there might be some power, utility in Hillary Clinton saying he's not a loyal Democrat. He's just, I don't know why he can't be a Democrat, but it says Madam former Republican. You know, this is, it's ludicrous, but it's also what he's saying, you know, in the election against the media elite. That I didn't want the New York Times endorsement. I basically walked in there, insulted them to their
he did.
He insulted them to their faces, and you could see it in their faces.
So, I mean, you could see a very big difference in the way the majority report is talking now and the way they were talking then. But why would you... Oh, that's the ad? I thought I paused it. Why would you keep doing the same thing? This actually is not a huge difference in the way they're talking, right? Like, oh, we don't want them, but we got to vote for them. We don't want them, but we got to vote for them. How long are we going to do this? We've been doing this for... since 1970 is when stuff really started getting bad around then, right? Like Nixon and them, you know, dropping the tax code and whatnot. Why in the world would we keep doing the same thing, the Clintons, then now this? It's not going to change. We stay the next 4 years pushing the Democratic Party, and then what's going to happen? Trump Jr. is going to win or whatever. Maybe the Democrats do win, but they're not going to do nothing good. And then in 4 years, 8 years, it's going to be another Republican just as bad or worse than Trump. So if you're a people person, if you're a left winger, if you're a progressive, if we don't feel the Green Party, if we don't feel the DSA, if we don't do something different, we're just going to keep getting the same. And you would know this if you got your information from across the spectrum.